So England face Ghana on Tuesday night, and I think there's actually quite a lot to unpack before the game. Now, let's be honest, Ghana, they should not be any trouble for England. England should be beating them. If you look at the recent form, it's been pretty horrendous. However, they have got a new manager, a new manager whose first game was against Wales just 2 weeks ago, which they got a draw out of, and then now they've beaten Panama. However, it was just a scraping past with Panama, scoring in the 90th minute, 1-0 win to them. We should be beating them. The problem with facing a team like Ghana is they're willing to sit in, and then they've got players like Antoine Semenyo who will be willing to, as we know, to test our back line and test our pace and try catch us on the break. That will be their game plan. So how do England need to build up against them? Because we don't want to risk too much at the back when they've got somebody like Semenyo, even an experienced striker like Jordan Ayew, who can catch us on the break. Now I think this is where Declan Rice will play a really important part. He'll be almost playing right next to Bellingham as a 10. And then with Kane not necessarily being a box striker, we've seen it in the past, especially recently, especially this season. If we allow him to come deep, it will drag their opposition players naturally out of position because he can't leave with Kane alone. And then with him doing that, and with him having a world-class pass on him, a world-class cross on him, I wouldn't be surprised if a goal comes from Harry Kane sitting deeper, making that crucial pass, creating space for other players, and then somebody like Bellingham, somebody like Declan Rice getting a goal from that. It's interesting because against Croatia, they were more willing to have the ball, and that works quite well for England. With Croatia, it was slightly different in terms of we're able to play in our own half a little bit, and Croatia will be happy to sort of come up against us. However, Ghana, they're not going to be driving forwards as much. They'll be willing to sit back, which means us using those wide channels like we did against Croatia so that our players could run down the wing. It's going to be more difficult to do that because our players won't be able to go past the players when they're already right in the final third anyway. I would be quite interested to see whether Bellingham starts or Morgan Rogers starts. Only because, even though I think Bellingham is a better player, against a low block where players will be sitting in, you almost want a bit more agility or a bit more technical ability as a 10 so you can weave in and out of players. And if you ask me who's better at shooting from outside the box, I'd be saying somebody like Morgan Rogers. And that's no disrespect to Bellingham. That doesn't mean I think Bellingham should be dropped. I'm just saying maybe we should be looking at Morgan Rogers as a 10. I wouldn't even be surprised if we dropped Anderson to give him a rest, or dropped Rice, who's had a very long season, and play Bellingham in that position, considering how much of a ball we're going to be having. And if we are struggling to break them down, then we've also got set pieces, which we're fantastic at. We saw how good our set piece is when it comes to Harry Kane scoring both his goals, really. That penalty coming from a corner, but also that second goal coming from a really, really well worked set piece. And I encourage you, if you haven't watched it properly, watch it again. See how our defenders, like John Stones, were blocking runs so Harry Kane could have that space in the box. And when you've got players as good as ours, who can put the ball on a dime for somebody as good as Harry Kane, as good as Mark Gahey if he gets minutes in the air, then we're going to be scoring from it. So for my prediction, I'm going to say England win. And once we score 1 or 2 goals, the goals will keep on coming. I'm saying it's going to be a 4-0 win to England. But let me know, what do you think? How are we going to set up? How are we going to break down somebody like Ghana who's going to be willing to sit back and be a low block? And if you want to see my match reaction straight after the England versus Ghana game, subscribe for more.